The ending you love almost never happened. Test audiences went silent. John Candy was reportedly paid $1 million to fix it in 4 days, and the proof is in the closing credits. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in National Lampoon's Vacation. Number 20. Every scene at the Griswold home is supposed to anchor you in suburban Chicago, but director Harold Ramis filmed those sequences at 2310 North Vermont Avenue in the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles. There was no attempt to disguise it. California geography is everywhere. During the farewell scene before the family departs, look at the skyline behind the rooftops. Mountains appear in the distance. Palm trees sit at the edge of the frame. Everything about that street reads West Coast, not Midwest. The illusion holds because the film moves fast, and nobody expects to look that closely. Every Chicago establishing shot in this movie is a Hollywood residential street wearing a costume. Now you will never stop noticing it. Number 19. The Wagon Queen Family Truckster looks like a joke, but the engineering behind it was deliberate. The car was built on a 1979 Ford LTD Country Squire platform, painted metallic pea green, and covered in faux wood paneling across 70% of the exterior. The strangest detail is the headlights. A second set was taken from a different vehicle and mounted upside down across the front grille. Pause during the dealership scene and count them, 8 total. 5 Trucksters were built because each needed to show a different stage of damage as the trip progressed. According to production records, none of the originals are believed to survive today. The car's visible deterioration across the film is a scene-by-scene record of everything falling apart. Number 18. In the Griswold living room, framed portraits of Audrey hang on the wall behind the couch. They look like standard prop photos any production designer would source. They are not. Those are actual childhood portfolio photos belonging to actress Dana Barron, pulled from her personal acting portfolio and placed directly on the set wall. Look at the living room wall during the early scenes before the family leaves. The images in those frames come from Barron's real life. She confirmed this in her 40th anniversary interview with FOX5 Atlanta. Most viewers have watched those portraits for 4 decades without knowing they were genuine. What reads as background set dressing is a piece of the actress's own history, sitting inside a fictional family's home the entire time. Number 17. Cousin Vicky barely registers during the farm sequence. She sits at the table, delivers a line, and disappears. The actress playing her was 14-year-old Jane Krakowski, nearly 2 decades before Emmy nominations for her work on 30 Rock and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Krakowski was among the approximately 300 children who auditioned, and the casting attracted no attention at the time. Watch the farmhouse table scene and find the girl with the quiet expression near the edge of the frame. Nothing about that moment signals a future television star is on screen. That is precisely the point. Some of the most significant careers in this film are hiding inside scenes audiences have always moved past without looking. Krakowski's entire Hollywood trajectory began in that farmhouse. Number 16. Clark Griswold is called Sparky throughout all 6 Vacation films. It appears in every installment, spoken by every actress who has played Ellen, and it is one of the most recognized recurring details in the franchise. It was never written in any version of the script. Actress Beverly D'Angelo invented it on set in the moment, and it immediately stuck. According to production interviews, she reportedly still uses the name with Chevy Chase off camera. Listen for the very first time Ellen says it. The delivery sounds effortless and natural because it genuinely was. Every subsequent film carried that single improvised word forward as though it had always been intentional. The most repeated name across 6 films was never written down once. Number 15. This film did not start as a Hollywood pitch. During the 1979 Chicago blizzard, John Hughes was stranded indoors for 3 days and wrote a short story called Vacation 58 for National Lampoon magazine. The story followed a family road trip to the real Disneyland, told from a child's point of view, ending with the father tracking down Walt Disney at his private home. Producer Maddie Simmons shopped the adaptation around Hollywood. Jeff Katzenberg at Paramount rejected it outright. Warner Brothers executive Mark Canton championed it into production. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Hughes updated the setting and replaced Disneyland with the fictional Walley World. Every disaster on screen traces back to 3 unplanned snowbound days in a Chicago apartment. Number 14. Hughes wrote his screenplay with Rusty, the teenage son, at the center of the story. After Hughes delivered his draft, Ramis and Chase rewrote the script without receiving screen credit. The most consequential change was shifting the point of view entirely to Clark, the father. That decision transformed Clark from a gruff background figure into an obsessive optimist whose desperation powers the film. The Christy Brinkley character changed along with it. In Hughes' original draft, she was a teenage flirtation for Rusty. In the rewritten version, she became Clark's adult fantasy instead. head. According to UPROXX, Hughes was reportedly frustrated. He wrote and directed 16 Candles the following year specifically to maintain creative control. Every Clark Griswold scene was built on rewrites its original author never approved. Number 13. The entire film builds toward Walley World. The entrance sequence feels like a genuine theme park arrival. It was filmed at Santa Anita Park Racetrack in Arcadia, California. Production used matte paintings to composite the Walley World sign, Marty Moose statue, and roller coasters over the existing racetrack imagery. Look at the ground during the arrival scene. The pavement layout and crowd barriers belong to a thoroughbred racing venue, not an amusement park. According to LA Mag and IMDb filming records, the actual ride sequences were filmed separately at Six Flags Magic Mountain during the emergency reshoot. The destination carrying the entire emotional weight of the story is a horse track with painted additions. The place the Griswolds sacrifice everything to reach simply does not exist. Number 12. Aunt Edna is unforgettable, but actress Imogene Coca refused the part when it was first offered. The 74-year-old television legend told producer Maddie Simmons she did not believe she could portray someone so openly unkind. Simmons convinced her to accept. Even after agreeing, Coca remained worried throughout production that she was being too harsh toward her fellow cast members. Chevy Chase later described her as one of the warmest people he had ever worked with. According to production accounts, Coca reportedly suffered a stroke during filming that caused short-term memory difficulties and forced her to relearn lines at several points in the schedule. Watch any of her scenes knowing that. The performance audiences find so perfectly unpleasant was delivered by someone genuinely uncomfortable playing a difficult person. Number 11. The desert jump where the truckster launches over a road-closed barrier looks like exaggerated slapstick. The jump is completely real. Stunt coordinator Dick Zeiker reportedly bet members of the production crew he could clear more than 50 feet in the station wagon, and he won. The sequence was filmed in Monument Valley, Utah. Watch the moment the car leaves the ground and track the distance before impact. No camera trick extends that airtime. The clearance was achieved in a single practical stunt with no additional takes. The most physically improbable moment in the entire film is also one of the most genuinely authentic things captured on set. That gap between what looks impossible and what actually happened is entirely real. Number 10. The dog on the bumper sequence is one of the most talked about moments in the film, but a visible production error sits at the center of it. When the family dog lunges at Clark in the parking lot, the leash connection at the bumper comes unhooked on camera. The leash does not remain secured. It rests loosely against the bumper after the dog pulls away. The entire sequence requires the dog to be physically attached to the vehicle, but the attachment fails visibly before the family drives off. Pause the moment Clark walks back around the truckster and look at the bumper connection point. According to IMDb Goof's records, this was documented but left uncorrected in every release. The scene everyone quotes rests on a prop that broke during filming. Number 9. After Aunt Edna passes away during the trip, the family ties her to the roof of the truckster and continues driving. The scene plays as dark comedy. What you see is an edited version. The original footage included a close-up of Edna's fingers moving on the rooftop, indicating she was still alive when the family left. The MPAA ordered the shot removed, ruling that showing a living person restrained on a moving vehicle's roof was too cruel to include. The removal made her definitively not alive, which apparently made everything that followed acceptable. Look at the rooftop shots remaining in the film. There is no movement in the frame, not by accident, but by mandate. A censorship ruling accidentally made the comedy darker than Hughes intended. Number 8. When the Griswolds reach Walley World and the recorded Marty Moose message informs them the park is closed for repairs, that voice belongs to Ramis. He recorded the announcement himself as an uncredited cameo. According to DVD commentary, he reportedly also provided the voice of an off-screen security team member during the finale sequence. The director of the film is the voice delivering the exact information that collapses the family's entire journey. Find any recorded interview with Ramis and play the Walley World announcement directly after. The vocal match is clear. Ramis shaped every scene from behind the camera throughout production, guiding the story at every stage. Here he stepped in front of the microphone and became the final obstacle Clark decides he will no longer accept. Number 7. Cousin Eddie's tongue click is one of the most imitated character details in the film. It was not improvised. Actor Randy Quaid based the sound on someone he remembered from high school and went through the entire script before filming began, marking every moment where he planned to use it. The click appears in scenes with no written comedic beat because Quaid inserted it as a pre-planned performance layer. Watch any Eddie scene and listen for placements that arrive without a scripted setup. Ramis also placed his own daughter, Violet Ramis, in the production as Daisy Mabel, Eddie's daughter, during the farm sequence. According to the 20th anniversary DVD commentary, Quaid described his preparation in detail. The most effortless seeming choice in the film was its most carefully planned. Number 6. The red Ferrari alongside Christy Brinkley is one of the most iconic images in the film, but the character was not created for Clark. In Hughes' original screenplay, the girl in the Ferrari was a teenage character written as a flirtation for Rusty the son. When Ramis and Chase shifted the story's perspective to Clark, she became an adult fantasy for the father instead. Brinkley was also making her acting debut here. She was the most widely recognized supermodel in the world at that moment and had never appeared in a film before. Watch Clark's reaction shots during every Ferrari encounter. Each expression was built around a rewrite that changed who the character existed for. The film's most iconic visual was originally designed for a completely different Griswold. Number 5. Holiday Road is one of the most recognizable comedy film themes ever recorded. Ramis personally approached Fleetwood Mac guitarist Lindsey Buckingham to write and perform the song. Buckingham composed it without watching any footage, working only from a description of the story. He played every instrument and sang all vocals himself. At the end of the recording, he added dog barks on a whim, with no reason behind the decision. He had no knowledge that a dog played a recurring role throughout the film. When Ramis heard the finished track and reached those barks, he was reportedly stunned. Buckingham confirmed this in a 2018 post, and in a 2021 Sodai Yerker podcast interview, the theme song for this road trip comedy accidentally predicted its most memorable running joke. Number 4. The Walley World finale appears seamless, but it was filmed months after everything else. Warner Brothers ordered a complete replacement of the original ending after test screenings failed, and the reshoot was scheduled at Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. In the time between the original production and the emergency reshoot, Anthony Michael Hall had grown 3 inches. Compare his height relative to Beverly D'Angelo in the Walley World scenes against any earlier scene. He is visibly taller. D'Angelo's hairstyle also shifts between the 2 production periods, moving from a softer wave to a tighter perm. Every continuity inconsistency in the finale traces back to one cause. The ending audiences consider the natural conclusion to the road trip was a separate production made months later. Number 3. The original ending was fully filmed and then completely discarded. In that version, the Griswolds never entered Walley World. Clark tracked down park owner Roy Walley, played by actor Eddie Bracken, at a Beverly Hills mansion and confronted him with a BB gun. Ramis said on DVD commentary that test audiences laughed through the entire film and went completely silent during that finale. Warner Brothers gave the filmmakers 4 days to replace it. John Candy was cast as security guard Russ Lasky and reportedly paid $1 million. Stay through the closing credits and look for the still photograph of the Griswolds on a plane wearing Marty Moose hats. That image is from the original ending. It is the only surviving fragment still visible in the released film. Number 2. The discarded ending was not simply abandoned. Hughes brought its core structure back for National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation in 1989. In the original 1983 conclusion, Clark obtained a BB gun, located a powerful authority figure, and held him accountable until the family received what they came for. That is the precise structure of the Christmas Vacation climax, where Clark similarly confronts his boss in a hostage situation. Hughes wrote the same ending twice. The version that devastated test scores in 1983 became the foundation of a sequel 6 years later. Chevy Chase confirmed on the 20th anniversary DVD that he personally owns a VHS copy of the original filmed ending. Warner Brothers has never released it. Christmas Vacation's most celebrated scene exists because 1983 audiences rejected its predecessor. Number 1. Clark Griswold is one of the most recognizable comedic performances of the 1980s. Chase did not arrive knowing how to play the role. According to his public tribute following Ramis's passing in 2014, covered by Slash Film, Chase asked Ramis directly for guidance. Ramis performed 2 lines of dialogue as Clark, not as an actor, but as a director showing a possibility. Chase described it simply: "He did 1 or 2 lines and gave me this guy in a couple of moments. The cheerful overconfidence, the relentless optimism building toward collapse, the energy defining every Clark scene across 6 films, all came from that demonstration." Watch Clark's very first speech to the family. That is Chase performing exactly what Ramis showed him. National Lampoon's Vacation looks like a road trip comedy. Every layer was rebuilt, replaced, or found by accident. The theme song predicted a plot point nobody told the composer. The most quoted franchise nickname was never written down. Every scene you thought you knew carries a second story. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?